Hello there, Mary.
Hi, Sabina. Nice to be with you.
It is always a treat to be with you. And thank you very much for taking some time and to answer the three questions from the Beyond the Ladder series. So, this series is all about interviewing the fabulous women that are in the book Beyond the Ladder and their wonderful stories of inspiration. I thought it would be really nice to actually hear the voices behind the words on the page. And I thought that this would be a great idea to interview and just have a few questions, a few little nuggets and insights to each of you. So thanks for doing this.
Thank you for
And tell us,
asking.
maybe you can tell us, because it's also interesting where everyone's calling in from. Where are you?
So we are live from Washington, D.C. in the U.S.
And Mary, you're the CEO of How We Heal. Maybe just if you had to do your pitch, your three sentences or three, what would you say is the impactful piece behind what you do?
My purpose in being and so my company is helping, supporting people to actually use their stress symptoms as pointers, as wisdom. So the way I look at it is everybody is stressed, has stress symptoms, and those are powerful pointers for what you need to be paying attention to. So rather than suppress them or get rid of them or bypass them, which I want you to go to yoga and do all the things for fun, not to de stress. So we would actually use the symptoms to kind of decode them to see what's the messaging here that you need to be looking at. So that's my purpose. It's like we're all stressed out. So it's like, well, are we
In
getting less
leadership
stressed? Oh,
roles.
absolutely. Yep. It's any role where you feel like you are you can make a difference. It's entrepreneurs, it's for business leaders, it's for team leaders, it's for family, people leading families, someone who's a solopreneur and things aren't moving forward. Well, the way I look at it is like the stress you're feeling about that is it's like the medicine is in the poison. The path is in the pathology. So we look at what is going on, and then you have a set of skills to then practice so you can kind of unpeel or unpack what's going on.
There's a lot going on.
There's a
I can
lot going on.
imagine that a lot of people need to have those discussions and not run away from them. It's a really interesting point to take the stress and not to push it away, but actually to work with it.
Turn toward it, be with it, and create something out of it that's actually useful and powerful.
That is interesting because it steps away from this concept that we always talk about pushing it away and thinking, how do I not have it? But we're always going to have it, aren't we? So, how do we best deal
The
with it?
same as stress makes great diamonds, right? Geologically. But then, right? And also, we're collapsing the word stress. There's obviously different sensations and experiences all humans have under that word. So that's why it's very important to know that when we've gone beyond the diamond stage, that it is impacting our health and well-being. And like what we're also unpacking is like, how is that rippling into your organization? Because your culture mirrors what you're going through. Like you have a thumbprint that's going or an imprint that's going into your organization. So we want to make sure that that's something you can actually undo and recreate using
Mm,
your symptoms, using your stressors.
yeah.
Yes, it's a unique way of shifting culture, creating health and well-being in a person and in your culture, right? There's many layers to the skills, but they're fairly straightforward and simple, so it's not actually complicated to implement.
It's always interesting to look at things a bit differently, and it fits perfectly into the first question that I want to ask you because we often ask ourselves, or we're in situations where we ask, what if? What if I do this? What if I do this? What if I make this decision? And I like to put a bit of a spin on it, just as you do in the work that you're doing to help people, is to ask instead of what if, to ask, what if I don't? So I would love to hear from you about a time when you faced a big decision and instead of playing it safe, that you ask yourself, what if I don't? And how did that moment create a little ripple in your life or your career?
Well, a lot of things actually are like popping like popcorn as you ask that question. And I think it would be like as far as a career thing, I have been um a Chinese medical practitioner for over 15 years. And about 4 years ago, I was like, okay, so what is the best use of Mary in the world? Yes, Chinese medicine is amazing. Like, I encourage people to seek out the as a type of perennial medicine that's useful for anything, because there's nothing new under the sun. Chinese medicine has a much bigger context for a human being who's not well. So I had a decision to make following COVID, that did I want to maintain a clinic, or if things were going to like shut down as they did in the US, do I want to be like that hamstrings me as a business person. Even though Chinese medicine actually in any plague, any type of plague, is quite useful. However, I made a decision that I didn't want to be the person that handles like infectious diseases type thing. That was just not, that was definitely a training angle, but I was decided, you know what? I know what the best use of me is, and it's not that. So I had to make a choice. And it's quite scary to go from busy clinic to go, I think I'm going to do coaching instead. So that's actually it's not a completely different business model, but it's where you're going from maybe in person to definitely online. But there's this but the way I decided that is certainly noticing that I felt really open, and I call it spaciousness in my body. And when I think about that, but coaching takes the best use of me, because consistently throughout my professional career, people have said, not only have they gotten better, but they've also said, and that thing you said that you had me observe, I actually understand my stress symptoms better, or when my back hurts, or when my head, like they became the practitioner rather than me telling them what's going on with them, right? That's to me true healthcare. Okay, so the best use of me is to hone that conversation with people that do have a ripple effect inside, because what I was getting was, business leaders, and because Washington DC is full of important people that doing really cool stuff, and so that was a number of my clients. So I decided, like, leaving my practice in order to do this thing was a very big deal, and it's been an ongoing, like, how do I bring this type of conversation? Where do you have agency in your life? How your health symptoms or physical symptoms are related to your leadership or company symptoms, so to speak, and making that interconnection. Certainly, I've had other pivots where I'm like, if I do this, what will life be like? Can I make it financially? We all deal with, is this the right thing for me? But consistently, I'll say this for all these pivotal moments when we're thinking, ooh, should I do this? I pay attention to my physical symptoms along with the data, along with the financial spreadsheets or the whatever I'm analyzing to help me make the decision. Because that's good. Hard data, need that. But then it comes to, like, I can only describe it in my body as like, huh. And there's like, huh. And it's kind of like, huh. Like a little bit of move, like a little, huh. I want to know more about that. So that's been a guiding light throughout my entire life. And when I've ignored that, things get a lot harder. Like pathways become one obstacle after another. So I'm a big fan, though, of make a decision. Like, just make a decision. Doesn't have to be the best and brightest, but if you feel like spacious and like, keep going in that direction. If it's not going to work out or whatever, you will come up against these obstacles. And then each moment you can decide to keep going, tweak it, have that conversation. Maybe that smooths that out. But I'm a big fan of going and making decisions with all the data, which is including you and your
You
physical
is the
sensations
data,
guiding. Yeah, the data.
your
We
own
forget
data.
the data.
Yeah,
The data
yeah.
miss head to
And the
toe.
data in that situation is your intuition. So feeling it. I love that example of feeling that spaciousness. And I think so many people, if you sit and ask yourself that question, what if I don't do that? That we start thinking of words in our brain, and we start thinking of sentences and putting the sentences together into paragraphs to make these decisions. But how about listening to
And
what's
as you
happening
do, it's
inside?
just a little tweak, right? You can think of all, like, what if I did that? And just noticing how you're. So in Qigong, so I'm a Qigong practitioner. And so it's this opening and closing that humans do all the time. Nature, right? We are nature, right? So in the opening, to me, that's a yes. Or ask more, right? Build upon the yes. If there's a tightening, doesn't mean no. Like, this is the nuance and the granular stuff about this. It doesn't mean no, but it's gonna go, what is it about this? So we do this, but the thing is, Sabina, we actually do this all day, every day. We just haven't made it, we're just not as aware of it. And actually making it slightly more aware through the skills that I teach, it doesn't take actually time. It doesn't actually take more time to just stop and go, wait, I've been doing this type of decision making likely since you were a little kid. Bringing that back to just to be more present with that added dimension of decision making. It honestly makes things a lot more smoother when we use all of it, because we're just going by what I call hard data. I don't know. I make a lot more mistakes or create more obstacles when I'm not using my sense perception. And yes, intuition, right? That's also one of those words like stress. It's kind of a garbage word, is what I call it, which means, what do we mean by that? But it's like, all intuition is, and I heard this definition a long time ago, is just really, you're really aware, you're really present in the moment. All of your senses are open. So this smelling, hearing, and then you're like feeling something almost undescribable, and you go with it. So it's not some abstract, nebulous, whatever, woo. No, it becomes part of your design as a human being. And unfortunately, I think that's been talked out of that. We've been talked out of paying attention to that because it's not the hard data. But I think my experience is that a very, very big part of being human, and we don't want to take that out of the human decision-making process, I say.
Fantastic. So big career move for you was when you ask yourself, okay, what if I don't do this? Then, and a big shift, and it's been a very positive one. And we can have
Reaching more,
also reaching
right?
more people.
Yeah.
We have lots of conversations around that. So interesting. So that leads beautifully to the next question that I have for you. Thanking people is a very important part of our lives. And I think oftentimes we do it, but we could probably do it a little bit more. So if you reflect on your life, who has been a ripple in your life? So shaping how you lead today. And if you could thank them right now, what would you say?
Oh my God. Ooh, it's funny. I was thinking about all these different mentors I've had over the years. And I think the one that still has imprinted on me the most and is Bob Duggan. He was the founder of the acupuncture school that I went to, one of the founders in the acupuncture school in Maryland that I went to. And he's passed. I keep actually a little photo of him. I keep a little photo of all of my teachers on my screen saver as a way to remind myself
That's
of
incredible.
how
I've
I'm
never heard of
here.
anyone do that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, you'll find that a lot of Chinese medical people will have, well, not a lot, but a few will have the pictures of their teachers that they most felt that they were responsible for how they do their medicine on the wall. So anyway, Bob and his daughter is also carrying the work forward. But that's how I came to know that the body is wise. Symptoms are always teaching you about something it's time to deal with, not suppress, and use it as a wise guide. So I was fortunate enough to have an apprenticeship with Bob before he died in 2016. It was a 3-year apprenticeship. This is way after acupuncture school I graduated from. And this is where it was like a twinkle in my brain, perhaps, that I wanted to do just coaching. So way back. And so if Bob was here, it would be, the person I am today, Bob, is from all of the teaching lessons, all of the fascinating questions you have asked. And my life, I can't imagine not having the skills and the tools that I have now. If I hadn't met you, I just can't imagine how I'd be navigating the world now. So, a deep, deep bow of gratitude to you, Bob, for helping me share and help other people. Like you said, pass it forward. I continue to pass your legacy forward. Thank goodness for mentors.
Thank goodness for them. And thank you, Bob. Because of Bob, our paths have reconnected as well because of Bob. So we
Absolutely.
can't
Exactly.
underestimate the contacts and the
The ripples,
impact.
right?
The ripples that these people have in our lives are incredible. And it's so important to thank them. So we're grateful
Yeah.
for
Very
Bob being in your
grateful.
life. All right. So that leads to the next question about your own legacy. If you think about leaving your legacy, what is one ripple that you would like to be remembered?
I mean, good question. So this person I haven't heard for in forever recently reached out to me. So I guess I'll tell the story and this is the legacy. This will be the example of the legacy. And apparently we had a conversation years ago about whatever issue was going on with her. I can't even remember the details. But she recently told me, actually thanked me. So we're talking, I haven't seen her as a client or patient for over a decade. And so I recently had run into her and she said, you changed from being a victim to being empowered with our conversation. You told me that no matter what my circumstance was, I still could make the choices and decisions for my life, not because of my past, but because that was actually great material. Those challenges were actually great material to lead my life forward. And I think that's the legacy that I am leaving or planting the seed with people, is to always know that you have a choice in how you show up to your family, to your organization. That calm presence is the best way to make decisions. But even if you're stressed out, knowing that there is a gold mine of material to come back to calm and ease. And she basically said that she could choose based on the amount of tension she was experiencing. She knew that that was a choice in the making, that she could choose to be stressed out about whatever she was dealing with or not, and use that to go, I get to choose no matter my circumstances. So choice, letting people know that they always have a choice, always. May not be ideal choices, right?
Yeah. It
But
gives them the
there's still
opportunity
choice.
to make these choices, maybe with a different perspective.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're already leaving that legacy. It was interesting in a previous conversation I had around this question. Somebody's like, this idea that our legacy is when we're not here anymore, but that's not the case. Our legacy is actually living in us now when we're passing it on, and it's part of our lives now. And I think it's so important. Don't think that it's just when we're not on the ground or on this planet anymore. It's
That's
living
right.
and breathing. Our legacy is very much alive in what we're doing every day. So that's beautiful.
Absolutely. Practicing what we speak about, fumbling and flailing along the way, that's being human.
Mary, thank you so much. As always, it is
Thank
a
you.
treat to speak with you. You always fill my heart and just make me happy. So thank you so much for making me happy on this Friday afternoon.
Thank you, Sabina. I am because you are. So I deeply mean that. So thank you for all the work that you're doing, supporting all the people that you have gathered around you and beyond, that ripple effect.